How can we connect performance management to performance? Such a simple question. So let's start with what we know about traditional performance management. The fundamentals of what most of us know as performance management really came out of the industrial era, the 1950s. And sadly, the way most of us are working it today, it really hasn't changed very much. And when you look across the globe, over 90% of companies globally are doing what we think of traditional performance management. You know, the annual review, maybe there's a mid-year review, there's some process of which we're assessing ratings or rankings. That's going into the big spreadsheet or the machine, the HRIS system that's cranking out decisions around pay and promotion and all those types of things. That's the traditional model. There's usually, that manager-employee meeting somewhere in the midst of that. And while over 90% of us globally are doing this, what we're still finding is we're still a feedback-deprived organization. So we're all doing this process, and we're putting a ton of hours and energy into it, but we're really not helping our people get the insights that they need. But the interesting thing, when I started doing the research on this and you get into it, our intention is very honorable. We're really trying to accomplish 3 goals. We're trying to develop people. We're trying to reward equitably, not equally, but equitably with fairness. And kind of the new kid on the block, we're trying to drive organizational performance. But it's really not achieving them. What is it we're doing now that isn't working? And so that's what we talk here, the 8 fatal flaws. Well, here's what we know. We can connect engagement to performance, right? We all know that. Causal, proven, tons of data behind it. But what we can't prove is that we can connect performance management to engagement, right? Can we? In most organizations, when I talk to them, they actually connect performance management to what? Disengagement. In fact, there is a lot of evidence that through this process, we're actually driving down performance than driving up performance, which is certainly not what any of us had intended. So fatal flaw number 1 is a theory without evidence as well. It's a bad theory. Number 2 talks about that whole idea of the manager-employee meeting. We know this meeting, right? You sort of suit up if employee, you're thinking about, the outcome of this could impact promotion and pay and all sorts of things. You're creating your list of all the great things you did this year. And the manager is doing the same thing. They're thinking about how they have to manage expectations. They've got a whole team. They only have so much that they can play with. And so really what happens in this meeting is it becomes a negotiation. There is not an authentic conversation. There is not a big, you don't show up as the employee saying, hey, here's the things I really think I could have done better this year. I mean, that's not really the conversation that happens. Fatal flaw number 3, nobody remembers the good work. And some of it's Western cultures. In Western cultures, we really think that the way you tell someone to get better is tell them what they did wrong. Not true, but that's what we think. So there's a lot that happens in these meetings that create that disengagement and that negative experience. And what's interesting is that you find that even employees who came out rated fairly well often have a very negative experience through the review process. They still heard the bad stuff. Number 4, no man or woman is an island. What's proven is you can take a high performer out of one organization and drop them into another, and they will no longer be a high performer. It was really the team and the efforts and the things, the ecosystem that surrounded them that made them that strong performer. We can't, as humans, isolate the individual from the system that they work in. Yet through performance review, we often attribute the full system to the individual in their rating or in their assessment. Number 5, we are not machines. And I have stickers. If anybody wants to leave with a "we are not machines" sticker, I have them up here. It's one of our favorite of the flaws. This is this idea that the fairness and standardization in ratings, it's unachievable. We can't get there because we're humans. We're naturally biased. If I was to rate you, the truth is that rating is 65% about me. And so we bring all of that into this process when we're using numbers and ratings, and we're trying to mechanize a process that is truly a human process. And it really doesn't work. And then we take those numbers and we crank them into that machine. Out of it comes decisions about people. Fatal flaw number 7. Let me introduce you to the competition. Now play nice. So here's the challenge, right? I don't know any organization out there that isn't focusing on innovation, collaboration, teamwork, all those types of things. And yet many of us are still using a system that erodes that. It competes people against each other. And then fatal flaw number 8, we are not Pavlov's dog. I poking here at this idea of pay for performance, because while in concept the idea of pay for performance is the right concept, I find the way we've executed it has completely failed us. And then also the bigger issue is it's based on this idea that we jump for those extrinsic rewards, which we really don't. We're much more intrinsically motivated. We align to strategy and purpose and culture and being part of something, and the autonomy, mastery, and purpose of David Pink. That's what drives behavior. We don't show up on a Wednesday and know that, hey, if I give 5% more, I might get a little bit more increase in my bonus in 6 months. That's not the way the human brain thinks. But often we design systems that really focus on rewarding those types of behaviors.